Marijuana.
Blake Production.
Yo, what is Gucci? So I'm doing a little update on some tickers here. So I'm going to start off with the S&P 500. So on Sunday, I drew out this like bottom trend line here, and it looks like we came back and gave it a touch. So that's pretty nice. It looks like this is our demand area, which I like to see. We got some nice bullish price action. Volume couldn't trump the previous day. That's okay, but it does look good. I would just be aware of a potential lower high to be formed, and then we continue downward. That's the only thing that I have pretty much on watch right now for the S&P. For the Nas, I'm thinking of the same thing. We got a double top up here. Now we did get a nice bounce day, but I want to see more follow through. When we look at the weekly time frame, we perfectly came back to touch the 8 EMA, which is nice. I like to see that, but I'm still going to be cautious for a bit. I like what I'm holding, but I'm still watching just in case we get a further pullback in for the rest of the week. So I would not want to be blindsided by that, because names do look nice right now, but to be safe, I want to see everything kind of hop up over its weekly 8 EMA or continue its bounce that like we seen today. So Airbnb, I had it marked out that we could be potentially going 100, right? This demand zone looks nice. So when it comes to playing this name, like, it's a pretty nice setup right now, because we got our nice risk to reward setup, right? You could take gains at this level, so that's an 11% trade, and then potentially ride it out if it does want to be the bottom, right? If this actually isn't like a potential market crash and we're going to keep grinding up, names like Airbnb are in a juicy spot right now to grab. So obviously manage your risk and stuff like that, but the charts look pretty nice. I would be aware though, just because if you look here, we're just continuously making lower highs. So that's not really the best, right? You do want to see us break out of this trend, because it's a downtrend. We keep making lower highs and lower lows as we continue going. So in order for this trend to break, we need to make a higher high. So maybe break up here, come back and do one of these. That's what I'll be looking for on Airbnb for the bullish case. For the bearish case though, we got to be careful, because this downtrend could easily continue, especially if the market decides it wants to pull back further. So I got these levels marked out from the Fibonacci extension that I made on Sunday there. So I'll redo that for you. We basically, from the top of this lower high here, we come back down, and then we come to this another lower high, and then that's the extension move. So that would make sense for us to come back in this area if we can't break out over this like 145 range. So that's the Airbnb. Air Canada here. Now I had this trend line drawn up. We were looking nice, right? We had 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 touches here, but we broke through. But what I do like to see is we have a potential double bottom. This will show up on the weekly a lot nicer, but potential double bottom here. So that is interesting. Remember, Air Canada got bought out at around $23. We came right back to 23, and look at where we bounced from. Nice big bullish volume engulfing the previous day. So when we look at the weekly, that could be a nice double bottom. Pay attention to it. Don't sleep on Air Canada. I like this setup in case, because we got some gaps up above, and we're fighting over this $28 supply zone. We're fighting it. So once we break up over it, if we can, this name is definitely going to be intriguing. Adsk. So this is Autodesk. First couple times looking at this chart, I really like this triangle setup here. We have broken out, and now it looks like we've back tested it. What I'm looking for now is this our supply zone that we got to battle? If we come up here and we start breaking up over, this name will probably just continue to grind up. If we look at the weekly, huge uptrend. So I wouldn't fight the trend. I like names like this. And if the market does pull back, and we could be looking to get it at like these levels, right? So that would be an absolute snag in my honest opinion, just because this was a major zone in 2020, right? Couldn't get over it. Once we get over, we backtest, and we start building bullish price action. So I like this range here for ADSK. It is pricey per share, $2.96, but with the way things are moving with stocks splitting and stuff, I would just keep this one on the watch list just in case. We've got AMD similar setup here, right? We had that falling down this trend line here. It's falling. We break up over it, and this supply zone of $95 just isn't ready yet. We've hit it once, two, three, four, five, 6 times. But the way we got into this supply zone, right? Think about it. We went real fast, just nice big push up, right? Now we're consolidating. We get the back test of this trend line. If we can hold it, that's great. Otherwise, we're probably just going to stick in this range here from 95 to 75 to 70. So the only thing that kind of sketches me out is there's some gaps below here on AMD, but I do like how NVIDIA and other semiconductor names are looking pretty bullish. So AMD is a name you'll probably not want to sleep on, right? Keep it on the watch list. Plus, it's one of those names I feel like it's very popular, right? Like if you look at a lot of people's desktops, AMD microchips are used a lot. So just check it out. Keep it on the watch list. It's shaping up nice and technically looks great. Bmbl, this stock kills me. Okay, so right now I kind of like what's going on. Like it's following all this trend line technical stuff here, right? So I drew this out a few weeks ago. We had that trend line. It came back, right? Look where we're wicking off of. And we're kind of leaving gaps behind. The volume is so tiny. Like this had a huge beat last time. I'm not saying it's going to have that same thing, right? That same beat. But on earnings, I'm not going to say it's the same thing. But I do like what we're seeing. We had a nice 1, 2, 3 push up. This could just be its nice consolidation period. And now we're going to gather to curl back to the upside. I like the gaps it's leaving behind. That it leaves me to feel like we need to fill them eventually. I like the wicks from below. I'm going to be keeping this one on the watch list. It technically looks pretty solid. We break up over this golden line here, this trend line, and I think it'll rip for sure. This, in my opinion, is a sign of strength. We've rejected this $60 range, this downward trend line here. We've rejected it multiple times. If we could find a way to break up over it in the coming future, I think that's a sign that it's ready to go. Technically, it looks great, and it's following all these lines. Like we've got these zones are solid to follow. Pfizer. The only reason why I wanted to bring this up is because this is a massive inverse head and shoulders, like massive. So I don't want to sleep on this. We've seen what happened to Mrna, right? That's a big vaccine name. Keep this on the watch list, man. Just keep it on the watch list. This is our neckline here, right? This has been going from 1999. We break up over this, it's gonna probably rip. I like it. I might just play leaps out into 2023, 2022. I'm going to be looking at that because I think $50 is coming in the future. This is the monthly time frame, so each one of these candles is a month, and it's setting up a massive inverse head and shoulders pattern. I like the looks of it. Potential's there, but then again, it's a very slow name, right? Like if you look here, what's this? Bottom of March 2020 up until now, and it's a 56% move, right? If you look at a lot of the other names like quadrupled, like went 6x. So this is a slower name, but volume coming in looks decent on the daily time frame. We got earnings coming up. I imagine they'll be decent from all this vaccine adoption, right? So we'll have to see. Keep it on the watch list. This is what happened to Mrna. Mrna just ripped. Again, this one's probably a little bit more of a popular name in terms of the vaccine names, but what happened to Mrna here could clearly happen to Pfizer. Lmnd, I like this, dude. I like the way this is setting up. I see it just a big triangle, and I'm gonna just let it play out. Although the weekly volume is low, I want to see it potentially play out. We could see it come back to this bottom trend line here. I like it. I like the looks of it. Insurance, it's an insurance company. It'll probably not go away. It's like these names are, I think we could trust these names. In long term, they look great. This was a high of $86, $186. So it's on sale now, technically. It's 50% off. Made lows of 68%, right? I kind of like the setup. Eventually, what we want to see is it break up over this trend line here and then continue its way up. It looks fairly nice, in my opinion. I'd be looking for us to break up over here. And if we can't hold this demand zone, I'm watching this lower trend line, because if we come back down there, I imagine there's going to be a bounce. We have like a bunch of touches here, major touch here with large volume. So that tells me that people are watching that trend line. We got Numi. This is one of the psychedelic names. I like the setup here. We got a big volume on the past 2 days and the beginning of July. Now we're fizzling out sideways. Low bear volume. We're still above this trend line. It could just fizzle out because psychedelics could need a little bit more time, but we got that nice big gap above. Eventually, that's going to get filled at some point. Once the psychedelics start to run again, this is not a name we're going to want to miss, in my opinion. It's basically a cheaper MMED, right? This is at $1 a share right now. It's made highs of 245, 145%. We'll have to see. So I like the looks of it. We could be shaping up a nice launch pad down here, so keep it on the watch list. SCR, so it did come back to this bottom trend line. Look at these dojis. I like it. I like the hammer. It doesn't mean it's going to stay, but this creates an easy trade, right? We set it up, we break below this trend line, we sell, or we break below that point here. So 18%, depends how tight you want to play it. If you're watching the trend line, 10% for a potential 50% bounce up to the top of that trend line. It's a nice setup. I like it. I like this setup, in my opinion. Again, don't just listen to me and go all in or something silly like that. Follow your own risk. Excuse me. Create rules, and that's why I use these trend lines. I'm not using it to look cool. Like it's literally, I'm making rules. If I want to get in this stock, I'm going to make a rule that if it breaks below that low with bear volume, that's a 10% loss. I'm going to be out right away. But it's a potential reward of, right, if we come back up to this zone, it's 20% if you want to play it fair. But if you want to play up to that upper trend line, it's a 50% trade. We're steadily uptrending. It's overall, right, steadily uptrending. We exploded at the end of last year and beginning of this year. It needs time. Like once this plays out, it could continue to drop like this. I think we get the break of this triangle here and it goes for another rip. PLTR. So I had this fib retracement drawn out for time. I've been waiting for it to come to this level. So again, all of this stuff depends on what the overall market is doing. If the overall market decides, hey, we're going to go further down, all these stocks are probably going to go down. So don't like jump and make a impulsive decision on, I need to get in the markets now. Have your levels marked out. There are some setups, like you can't ignore it, but just keep an eye. Keep the risk in play, right? Make the rules for yourself. Again, I like the looks of it. We got the bullish volume engulfing the previous day. Second day was pretty nice follow through, right? Like we melted up today. Like if we look at the hourly time frame, we came back down to this level and the bots, it must have been algos, something, were waiting because we curled right up and now we're right up on the 8 EMA again. Again, we could come back down and I have that definitely in play. We could get something like a weekly double bottom at 17. Right, $17 was a nice buy. We had absolute huge volume on May 11th when it hit $17. So we could get that double bottom. That would be a great place to buy. And if you think about it, this stock pretty much started going nuts around $10, right? If it came back to 10, that's a steal. But for the most part, I like how we're holding that GP. It's 0.618 fib retracement. We come back right to it, which is golden, and we get the bounce. That could have been a nice trade in itself right there, right? 8% trade, depending how much you're swinging. But this alone, I like the system that I've been using, and it's been looking pretty decent. So I like the looks of PLTR. This is a name that I'm just trying to gather a massive position in. So I'm looking to gather when it's low. Had some at 19, 18, added more at 23 around this level here, and I added more the other day back at 21. So if we break below lower, I'll be probably looking for 17. But right now, this demand zone's looking solid. If we do start to curl up and the market goes up, this name is just going to probably just melt away upward. So keep it on the watch list. Don't sleep on it. All right, guys. Peace.